Maya, I'm Kevin, your team lead. Ready to get started? They moved to a conference room. Kevin pulled up a screen showing different projects the team was working on. We build and maintain software for various nonprofit organizations, he explained. Right now, we're working on 3 main projects: a donation platform, a volunteer management system, and a client intake database for a homeless services organization. Maya listened intently, taking notes. For your first few weeks, I'm going to pair you with Jordan. He's one of our mid-level developers. He'll show you our code base, our processes, how we work. Sound good? Sounds great, Maya said, hoping she sounded confident. Jordan turned out to be in his late 20s, easygoing and patient. He spent the whole first day walking Maya through the company's code repositories, explaining their development workflow, showing her how they used Git for version control. It was overwhelming. So much information, so many systems, so many new tools she'd never used before. But Jordan moved at her pace. When she didn't understand something, he explained it differently. When she needed a break, he suggested they grab coffee. "How you holding up?" he asked during their second coffee break of the day. "Honestly, I'm kind of freaking out internally," Maya admitted. Jordan laughed. "That's totally normal. I felt the same way my first week. Actually, my first month. There's a lot to learn. Don't expect to understand everything right away." "When did you start feeling like you knew what you were doing?" "I'll let you know when I get there," Jordan said with a grin. "Seriously though, I've been here 2 years and I still learn new things constantly. That's just how tech is. You're always learning." That actually made Maya feel better. The idea that even experienced developers didn't know everything, that constant learning was normal, not a sign of her inadequacy. The first week passed in a blur. Maya absorbed information like a sponge, took detailed notes, asked questions when she was confused, slowly started to understand how everything fit together. Her first real task came at the end of week 1, a small bug fix in the donation platform. Something about the email confirmation not sending properly when users completed a donation. "Nothing too complicated," Jordan said. "Should be a good first ticket for you. Take a look at the code. See if you can figure out what's going wrong. I'm here if you get stuck." Maya spent 3 hours on that bug, combed through the code, tested different scenarios, finally found the issue: a missing await keyword that was causing the email function to not complete before the process moved on. 1 word. The solution was literally adding 1 word to the code. She felt simultaneously proud of finding it, and stupid that it had taken 3 hours. She submitted her fix for code review. Jordan approved it within an hour with the comment, "Nice catch. Good work." Maya's first contribution to a production code base. It was tiny, but it was real. People using the donation platform wouldn't encounter that bug anymore because of her. That felt incredible. Week 2 brought more tasks, slightly bigger ones. A feature request to add a search filter to the volunteer management system. An update to the styling on one of the forms. Maya worked slowly but carefully. Asked questions when she needed help. Watched how other developers approached problems. She also started attending the daily stand-up meetings where everyone shared what they were working on. At first, she barely spoke. Just listened to everyone else's updates, feeling out of her depth. But by week 3, she was contributing. Sharing her progress, asking for help when she was blocked, actually participating. Patricia pulled her aside one afternoon. "How are you settling in?" "Good, I think. Everyone's been really helpful. I've been watching your work. You're doing great. Kevin says you're picking things up quickly and asking smart questions." Maya felt her face warm. "Thanks, I'm trying. That's all we ask." "Keep it up." Month 2 at TechBridge, Maya got her first significant feature to build. A new reporting dashboard for one of their nonprofit clients. They needed to see metrics on their services, how many people they'd helped, what types of services were most utilized, trends over time. It was complicated, way more complex than anything Maya had built before. She'd be working on this for weeks. Jordan was still there to help, but he gave her more independence now. Let her struggle a bit before stepping in, encouraged her to figure things out on her own first. Maya spent hours reading documentation, researching different chart libraries, planning out the database queries she'd need to pull the right data. She made mistakes. Lots of them. Broke things. Had to redo work. Got stuck and frustrated, but she also solved problems, figured out solutions, built something that actually worked. When she demoed the dashboard to the client in a video meeting, they were thrilled. This is exactly what we needed, the executive director said. This will help us so much with our grant reporting. Thank you. Maya ended that call feeling 10 feet tall. She'd built something that helped people do good work more effectively. That was why she'd gotten into tech in the first place. Month 3, Patricia approached her about mentoring. We have a partnership with the same boot camp you went through, Patricia explained. We like to have our developers mentor current students. Would you be interested? Me? But I've only been here 3 months. Exactly. You remember what it's like to be in their shoes. That recent experience is valuable, Maya agreed. Got paired with a boot camp student named Tanya, who was halfway through the program, a former teacher looking to change careers. They video chatted once a week. Maya reviewed Tanya's code, answered questions, offered encouragement when things got hard. It was strange being on the other side, being the person giving advice instead of asking for it. But it also reminded Maya how far she'd come. The code that had confused her 6 months ago, she could now explain to someone else. The concepts that had seemed impossible, she now understood well enough to teach. 6 months into the job, Maya got her first performance review. She sat in the conference room with Patricia and Kevin, nervous. Overall, you're exceeding our expectations, Patricia started. Maya exhaled. She hadn't realized she'd been holding her breath. Patricia continued. Your technical skills have grown tremendously. You're contributing meaningful work. More importantly, you're a great team member. You help others, you communicate well, you're not afraid to ask questions. Kevin nodded. I'm really happy with your progress. You came in with less traditional experience than most junior developers, but your work ethic and problem-solving skills make up for it. We'd like to give you a small raise, Patricia said, bringing your salary to $70,000, and we're promoting you from junior to mid-level developer. Maya stared at them. Are you serious? It's only been 6 months. You've earned it, Patricia said simply. We see your potential. We want to invest in you. $70,000. Mid-level developer. Maya felt dizzy. Thank you, she managed. Thank you so much. That night, she took Lily out for dinner. Real dinner, at a sit-down restaurant. Not fast food or pizza or cheap takeout. Why are we celebrating? Lily asked, coloring on the paper placemat. Because Mommy got a promotion at work. What's a promotion? It means I'm doing a good job and they're paying me more money. Lily considered this. Does that mean we can get ice cream after? Maya laughed. Yeah, baby. We can get ice cream after. As Lily chattered about school and her friends, Maya looked around the restaurant. A year ago, she would have been the one serving these tables, taking orders, refilling drinks, cleaning up messes. Now she was the customer, could afford to eat here without calculating every dollar, could order what she wanted instead of what was cheapest. It felt surreal. Month 9 at TechBridge, David messaged her. They'd stayed in touch since the boot camp ended, though they were both so busy they rarely talked. Coffee this weekend? He asked. I want to hear about everything. They met at a cafe near Maya's apartment. David looked good. Less stressed than during boot camp. So how's the job? Maya asked. Good, really good. Still learning a ton, but I feel like I actually know what I'm doing now. Most days anyway. He grinned. How about you? Same. I got promoted to mid-level developer a few months ago. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. They talked for 2 hours. About their jobs, their projects, the things they'd learned. About how impossible it all seemed a year ago. About how they'd both wanted to quit multiple times but kept going. We did it, David said, raising his coffee cup. We actually did it. Maya clinked her cup against his. We really did, 1 year at TechBridge. Maya had worked on a dozen different projects. Built features used by thousands of people. Helped nonprofits serve their communities more effectively. She'd also grown as a developer. Could write clean, efficient code. Could debug complex issues. Could architect solutions to complicated problems. Could mentor others. Patricia called her into her office one afternoon. We're starting a new initiative, Patricia said. Partnerships with more boot camps and alternative education programs. We want to hire more developers from non-traditional backgrounds. People who bring different perspectives. Maya nodded. This aligned with everything TechBridge stood for. I'd like you to lead this initiative. Help us build relationships with boot camps. Review applications from candidates, conduct interviews. You'd still spend most of your time coding, but take on more responsibility around hiring and mentoring. Maya's hands trembled as she pulled into the parking lot of the modern office building. Her first day, Her actual first day as a real developer. She'd barely slept the night before. Spent 2 hours deciding what to wear. Business casual, Patricia had said in the welcome email. But what did that mean exactly? Maya didn't own much that qualified as business anything. She'd settled on black pants from Target and a blue blouse she'd found at the thrift store for $12. Professional enough, she hoped. The office was on the 3rd floor. Maya took the elevator, watching her reflection in the metal doors. She looked terrified. She felt terrified. What if she couldn't do this? What if everyone realized she didn't belong? What if they figured out she'd learned everything from YouTube videos and free tutorials? The elevator dinged. Doors opened. No turning back now. The office was smaller than she expected. Open floor plan, maybe a dozen desks, lots of natural light. A few people were already at their computers. They looked up and smiled as she walked in. "You must be Maya." A woman approached, hand extended. "I'm Patricia. We're so glad you're here." Patricia looked different than Maya had pictured from their video calls. Shorter, warmer, more casual. She was wearing jeans and a company t-shirt. "Thanks for having me," Maya said, shaking her hand. "I'm excited to be here." That was true and not true at the same time. Excited, yes. Also absolutely terrified, Patricia gave her a tour. Showed her the kitchen with free coffee and snacks. The small conference room. The desk that would be hers. Already set up with a brand new laptop and a second monitor. A brand new laptop. Maya had never owned a new computer in her life. "Take some time to get settled," Patricia said. "Set up your accounts, get familiar with the equipment. Your team lead, Kevin, will check in around 10 to go over your first tasks." Maya nodded, trying not to hyperventilate. She sat at her desk. Her desk, with her name on a little placard someone had made. Maya Rodriguez, junior developer. The laptop was sleek and fast. Nothing like the ancient machine she'd learned on. She logged in, set up her email, joined the company Slack channels. Welcome messages started popping up immediately. "Hey, Maya. Welcome to the team. So excited to work with you. Let us know if you need anything." Everyone seemed friendly. That helped a little with the nerves. At 10 on the dot, a guy appeared at her desk. Tall, maybe 30, with glasses and a friendly smile. "Really? You want me to do that? You're the perfect person for it. You've been through it. You know what it takes. You can identify talent that others might overlook." Maya agreed immediately. This was exactly the kind of work she wanted to do. Help other people make the same transition she had. Prove that developers could come from anywhere. Over the next few months, she worked with 3 boot camps. Gave talks to current students about her journey. Reviewed applications. Conducted interviews. She hired 2 developers from non-traditional backgrounds. One was a former nurse. The other had been working in retail. Both reminded Maya of herself a year ago. Nervous, uncertain, but determined and capable. She mentored them through their first weeks. Answered their questions. Assured them they belonged. Watched them grow. 2 years at T-month 5 of the boot camp. Maya stared at her laptop screen, eyes burning with exhaustion. Her capstone project was coming together, slowly but surely. The single-parent resource platform now had user authentication, a searchable database of local services, and a community forum where parents could connect. It wasn't perfect. The design was basic. Some features were clunky. But it worked. And more importantly, it solved a real problem she'd experienced firsthand. Rachel had told them to start applying for jobs now, even before graduating. "The job search takes time," she'd said. "Start early. Get comfortable with rejection. Learn from every interview." Maya opened a job search website and typed junior developer into the search bar. Hundreds of positions appeared. Thousands, actually. She filtered by location, by remote options, by entry level. Still hundreds of results. She clicked on the first posting. Required skills: JavaScript, React, Node.js, SQL, Git, RESTful APIs, Redux, TypeScript, unit testing, CI/CD pipelines. Maya knew maybe half of those things. Sort of. She closed the listing and opened another. This one wanted 3 years of experience for a junior position. 3 years. For junior level. Another listing wanted a computer science degree or equivalent experience. Maya had neither. Her heart sank. How was she supposed to compete? But Rachel's words echoed in her mind. Start early. Get comfortable with rejection. Maya spent that entire Sunday updating her resume, building a portfolio website to showcase her projects, and polishing her LinkedIn profile. She felt ridiculous calling herself a developer. She was still a waitress, still serving coffee and burgers every weekend, but technically, she did develop things now. She built applications. She wrote code. That made her a developer, right? She posted in the bootcamp Slack channel. Anyone else terrified to start applying? Responses flooded in within minutes. Yes, I feel like a fraud. Same. I keep looking at job postings and thinking I'm not ready. I applied to 15 jobs yesterday. Got rejected from 3 already. It's brutal out there. At least Maya wasn't alone in her terror. David messaged her privately. You applying yet? Working on it, you? Sent out 10 applications this week. Haven't heard back from any of them. It's demoralizing. Only 10? Maya had been thinking she'd send maybe 5 applications total to her top choices. The bootcamp career counselor said we should aim for 10 to 15 applications per week minimum. Treat job searching like a full-time job. 10 to 15 per week. Maya felt sick. That was on top of finishing the bootcamp. On top of her diner shifts. On top of being a mom. When exactly was she supposed to sleep? But she started applying anyway. She spent every spare moment customizing cover letters, tailoring her resume to different positions, and clicking submit. The first rejections came fast. Automated emails thanking her for her interest, but informing her they were moving forward with other candidates. She'd get them within hours of applying, which meant no human had even looked at her application. Just some automated system filtering her out. After 20 applications, she'd received 15 rejections and 5 non-responses. 0 interviews. Maya messaged the bootcamp career counselor, a woman named Lisa, who'd helped hundreds of graduates land jobs. I'm not getting any responses. What am I doing wrong? Lisa reviewed Maya's resume and portfolio during a video call. Your technical skills look good. Your projects are solid, but your resume is too humble. You need to sell yourself better. I don't want to lie. I'm not asking you to lie. I'm asking you to own what you've accomplished. Instead of saying helped build a scheduling app, say designed and implemented a full-stack scheduling application that improved efficiency by 30%. See the difference? Maya nodded slowly. It felt uncomfortable, boastful, but Lisa was right. She needed to stand out somehow. She rewrote her entire resume, added metrics where she could, highlighted leadership moments from her group projects, emphasized the real-world problem-solving from her capstone project. Then she started applying again. 10 applications on Monday, 12 on Tuesday, 15 on Wednesday. Her inbox filled with rejections. The automated ones didn't sting anymore. She'd gotten used to those. It was the personal rejections that hurt. The ones that said impressive background but were looking for someone with more experience. More experience. Always more experience, even for junior positions. Week 2 of the job search brought her first interview request. A startup called TechBridge was looking for a junior front-end developer. They wanted to schedule a phone screening. Maya nearly screamed with excitement. After 47 applications, someone finally wanted to talk to her. She prepared obsessively. Researched the company. Practiced common interview questions with David. Reviewed her projects until she could explain every line of code. The phone screen was scheduled for Wednesday at 2 p.m. Maya requested a longer break from her diner shift. Rosie, bless her, agreed without question. Maya sat in her car in the diner parking lot, laptop balanced on her steering wheel, phone connected to earbuds. Professional as always, the recruiter was friendly. Asked about her background, why she was transitioning to tech, what she was looking for in a position. Maya told her story. Single mom, career change, self-taught with bootcamp training, passionate about solving real problems with technology. That's a great story, the recruiter said warmly. We love career changers here. Diverse perspectives make for better teams. They talked for 30 minutes. At the end, the recruiter said she'd love to move Maya forward to a technical interview with the engineering team. Maya ended the call and immediately burst into tears. Happy tears. Relieved tears. Maybe this is actually possible tears, she texted David. I got a technical interview. That's amazing. You're going to crush it. The technical interview was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Video call with 2 senior developers. They'd ask her to solve coding challenges in real time while explaining her thought process. Maya spent every free moment practicing. She worked through algorithm problems on LeetCode. She did mock interviews with David and other bootcamp students. She reviewed all her bootcamp materials. Tuesday arrived. Maya sat up at her kitchen table, Lily at her mom's place for the evening. She wore a nice blouse on top, pajama pants on the bottom. The classic remote interview outfit. The two developers appeared on screen. One was a woman named Jennifer, maybe 40. The other was a younger guy named Chris, probably late 20s. "Thanks for joining us, Maya," Jennifer said. "We're excited to learn more about you." They started with easy questions. "Tell us about your background. Walk us through a recent project. What's your experience with React?" Maya handled these fine. She could talk about her work confidently now after all the preparation. Then came the coding challenge. "We're going to share a code editor with you," Chris explained. "We'll give you a problem and we want you to solve it while talking through your approach. Don't worry about getting it perfect. We care more about your thought process than the exact solution." The problem appeared on screen. Given an array of integers, write a function that returns true if any value appears at least twice in the array, and returns false if every element is distinct. Maya's mind went blank. Completely, utterly blank. She stared at the problem. She knew this was a common question. She'd practiced similar ones. But in this moment, with two experienced developers watching her, she couldn't think. "Take your time," Jennifer said gently. "Talk us through what you're thinking." Okay, so I need to check if there are any duplicates in the array." Maya's voice sounded shaky even to herself. "Right. How would you approach that?" I could loop through the array?" She winced. "That sounded so basic." "Sure, that's one way. What would you do inside the loop?" Maya's brain was screaming at her. She knew the answer. She'd solved this exact type of problem before. Why couldn't she think? "I could maybe compare each element to every other element." "You could," Chris said. "What would be the time complexity of that approach?" Time complexity? Big O notation. She knew this. Why was her mind blank? I'm not sure, maybe O of n squared. Correct. Is there a more efficient way to do this? There was. She knew there was. Something about using a set or an object. Why couldn't she remember? The interview lasted 45 minutes. Maya stumbled through the rest of it, giving half answers and incomplete solutions. By the end, she felt like crying. "Thanks so much for your time, Maya," Jennifer said. "We'll be in touch soon." Maya knew what that meant. It meant no. She closed her laptop and put her head down on the kitchen table. She'd blown it. Her first real interview, and she'd completely frozen up. The rejection email came 2 days later. "Thank you for interviewing with us. While we were impressed with your background, we've decided to move forward with candidates whose technical skills more closely match our current needs." Maya wasn't even surprised, just disappointed. She told David about the interview disaster during one of their study calls. "Interview anxiety is real," he said. "I've blown interviews before too. You have to treat it like any other skill. Practice until it becomes natural." "How do I practice if no one will interview me?" "Mock interviews. With me, with other bootcamp students, with anyone who will help. Record yourself answering questions. Get comfortable being uncomfortable." Maya started doing mock interviews 3 times a week. David interviewed her. She interviewed him. They joined a bootcamp practice group that met online to run through technical questions together. Slowly, Maya got better. She learned to breathe through the anxiety. To say, "Let me think about this for a moment," instead of panicking. To write out her thought process even when she wasn't sure of the answer. She kept applying to jobs. 10 to 15 per week, like Lisa suggested. She'd sent out over 100 applications now. The second interview request came from a company called DataCore, another phone screen followed by another technical interview. This time Maya did better. Not perfect, but better. She solved the coding challenge, explained her reasoning, discussed trade-offs between different approaches, but she still didn't get the job. The feedback said she did well technically, but they had concerns about her limited professional experience. Third interview. Same story. Good technically, but not quite what they were looking for. Fourth, fifth, sixth interviews. All rejections. Maya was getting better at interviewing. She could solve algorithm problems under pressure now. Could explain her projects clearly. Could answer behavioral questions about teamwork and handling challenges. But it wasn't enough. Month 6 of boot camp arrived. The final stretch. Maya was exhausted in ways she didn't know were possible. She'd been running on empty for so long she couldn't remember what feeling rested was like. Her capstone project was finished. 3 full applications in her portfolio now. All functional, all solving real problems. Her resume was polished. Her interview skills were solid, and she had nothing to show for it except 150 rejections. She posted in the bootcamp channel, "How many rejections did it take before you got your first yes?" The responses were sobering. "I got rejected from 200 places before landing my first job. 180 applications over 3 months. I thought I'd never get hired. Then I got 3 offers in 1 week. Keep going." Maya kept going because she didn't know what else to do. She'd come too far to quit now. Application number 153 was to a company called TechBridge, not the same one as her first interview, confusingly. This TechBridge was a smaller startup, only 15 people building software for nonprofits. The mission resonated with Maya, using technology to help organizations that helped people. That's what she wanted to do. She spent extra time on the cover letter, explained her background working service jobs, how she understood the challenges of operating on tight budgets, how her capstone project was built specifically to help underserved communities. She hit submit and immediately forgot about it. She'd learned not to get her hopes up. 2 days later, she got a response. Not an automated rejection. A personal email from the CTO, a woman named Patricia. "Maya, your story really resonated with me. I'd love to chat if you have time for a phone call this week." Maya read the email 3 times. Then she called David. "I think this one might be different," she told him. "What makes you say that?" "I don't know. Just a feeling." The phone call with Patricia lasted an hour. They barely talked about technical skills. Instead, Patricia asked about Maya's life, her challenges, what drove her to learn coding, what she hoped to do with the skills. Maya was honest. More honest than she'd been in any other interview. She talked about being a single mom, about working at the diner, about the nights she wanted to quit but kept going, about building her capstone project because she wished something like it had existed when she needed help. Patricia listened without interrupting. At the end, she said, "I want to bring you in for a technical interview. But I'll be honest with you, Maya. I'm already pretty sold. I've reviewed your GitHub, looked at your projects. The code is good. Not perfect, but good. What I really want to know is if you'll be a good fit for our team." "What kind of team are you building?" Maya asked. "People who give a damn. People who understand that technology should serve humans, not the other way around. People who've experienced challenges and want to use their skills to help others facing similar challenges." Maya felt tears welling up. This was exactly what she'd been looking for without knowing it existed. The technical interview was scheduled for the following week. 2 engineers, 1 project manager. They gave her a coding challenge, which she solved, not perfectly but adequately. They asked about her approach to learning new technologies, how she handled being stuck, what she did when her code didn't work. Maya answered honestly. She Googled a lot. She asked for help. She broke problems into smaller pieces. She didn't give up. At the end, the project manager asked one final question. "Why do you want this job specifically?" Maya thought about the diner, about her aching feet and endless shifts, about Lily asking why Mommy was always tired, about learning to code at midnight because it was the only time she had, about rejections and self-doubt and wanting to quit. "Because I want to prove that someone like me belongs in tech," she said. "Someone without a degree. Someone who learned to code while working full-time and raising a kid alone. Someone who comes from service work and knows what it's like to struggle. I want this job because I'll work harder than anyone else to make sure I succeed. And because I believe in what you're building." The interviewers exchanged glances. The project manager smiled. "Thank you, Maya. We'll be in touch very soon." 3 days later, Patricia called her. Maya was in her car about to start her shift at the diner. "Maya, I'd like to offer you a position as a junior developer at TechBridge." Maya's hands started shaking. "Really? Really?" The team was unanimous. "We think you'd be a great fit. The salary is $65,000 annually plus benefits and equity. Does that work for you?" $65,000. More than double what she made at the diner. A salary, not hourly wages that changed every week. With benefits. And equity, whatever that meant. "Yes," Maya said, her voice breaking. "Yes, that definitely works. Wonderful. I'll send over the paperwork today. Can you start in 2 weeks?" Absolutely. Maya ended the call and sat in her car crying. Actually crying. Happy tears. Relieved tears. I can't believe this is real tears. She texted David. I got the job. His response was immediate. No way. Congratulations. Then, I got one too. Just found out yesterday. Was waiting to tell you in person. Maya laughed through her tears. They'd both made it. Against all the odds, they'd both actually made it. She walked into the diner for her shift, still crying, and told Rosie the news. Rosie hugged her so tight Maya could barely breathe. I knew you'd do it, honey. I always knew. The 2-week notice period was surreal. Maya served her last coffees, her last burgers, her last tables. The other servers threw her a goodbye party during their break. Kelly gave her a card signed by everyone. Go show those tech bros what a real worker looks like, Kelly said, hugging her. On her last day, Rosie handed Maya an envelope. Inside was a check for $500. Rosie, I can't accept this. Yes, you can. Call it a graduation gift. Buy yourself some fancy tech worker clothes or whatever you need. Maya hugged her again. I'm going to miss this place. No, you're not, Rosie laughed. But you'll visit, right? Of course I will. That night, Maya updated her LinkedIn profile. Changed her title from server at Rosie's Diner to junior developer at TechBridge. She stared at the screen for a long time. Junior developer. That was her now. Not a waitress who coded on the side. A developer who used to waitress. She'd done it. She'd actually done it. It had taken 154 applications, 7 interviews, countless rejections, 6 months of boot camp, and a year of teaching herself before that. It had cost her sleep, time with her daughter, financial security, and more tears than she could count. But she'd done it. She was a developer now, and nobody could ever take that away from her. The first week of boot camp nearly destroyed her. Maya had thought she was prepared. She'd spent months learning the basics. She'd built projects. She'd solved coding challenges. She'd watched hours and hours of tutorials. None of it mattered. The boot camp moved at lightning speed. Day 1 started with an orientation meeting. 53 students filled the video call, their faces arranged in a grid on Maya's screen. Most of them looked young. Like really young. Fresh out of college, maybe. A few were older, career changers like her and David. But not many. The instructor, a woman named Rachel who'd worked as a senior developer at 3 different tech companies, laid out the expectations. This program is designed to take you from beginner to job ready in 6 months. That means we move fast. Really fast. If you fall behind, it's hard to catch up. Most of you will want to quit at some point. That's normal. Push through it, Maya felt her stomach drop. Most of you will want to quit. Great, Rachel continued. You'll have daily lessons, assignments due every other day, and larger projects due weekly. You'll work in pairs and groups. You'll do code reviews. You'll present your work. And at the end, you'll build a capstone project that you can show employers. Someone raised their virtual hand. How many hours should we expect to spend on this per week? Minimum 50. More like 60 if you want to really absorb everything. And before anyone asks, yes, people do work full-time while completing this program. It's not easy, but it's possible. 50 to 60 hours. On top of her weekend shifts at the diner. On top of being a mom, Maya did the math in her head. She'd basically have no free time for 6 months. No relaxing. No hobbies. No social life. Not that she had much of one anyway, but still. The coursework started immediately. No warm-up period. They dove straight into JavaScript fundamentals, which Maya thought she understood pretty well. She was wrong. The first assignment was due in 2 days. Build a calculator app using vanilla JavaScript. Include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and handle edge cases like dividing by 0. Sounds simple, right? It wasn't. Maya spent 6 hours on it the first night. Her code kept breaking. The buttons wouldn't work right. When she finally got the basic functions working, she realized she'd completely forgotten about the edge cases. By 2 in the morning, she had something that mostly worked. It was ugly and the code was messy, but it functioned. She submitted it and collapsed into bed, setting her alarm for 5 hours later. The next day was Saturday. Maya worked a double shift at the diner, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 12 hours of taking orders, serving food, refilling drinks, and pretending to care about customers who snapped their fingers at her. She got home at 9, exhausted. Lily was already asleep. Maya's mom looked tired too. How'd it go? her mom asked. Long, really long. Maya kicked off her shoes and groaned. Her feet were killing her. Thanks for watching, Lily. Of course, mija. How's the computer class going? It's intense. Really intense. But I'm managing. That was a lie. She wasn't managing. She was barely surviving. The second assignment came that night. Build a to-do list app with local storage so items persist even when you close the browser. Due in 2 days, Maya stared at the requirements. She'd never worked with local storage before. She'd heard of it, but never actually implemented it. Back to Google. Back to documentation. Back to tutorial videos at midnight. This became her life. Every minute of every day was accounted for. Wake up, get Lily ready for school, study for 3 hours. Pick up Lily, homework and dinner. Put Lily to bed. Study until 2 or 3 in the morning. Sleep a few hours. Repeat. Weekend shifts at the diner felt like breaks compared to the boot camp work. At least serving food didn't require learning something completely new every single day. Week 2, they moved into React, a JavaScript framework that made building interfaces easier, apparently, except it didn't feel easier. It felt like learning a whole new language on top of the language she barely understood. Maya spent an entire day trying to understand how state worked in React. Why did she need it? How was it different from regular variables? Why did everything break when she tried to update it directly? She watched the lesson video 3 times, read 4 different articles, tried to build the practice project, failed, tried again, failed again. At some point around midnight, she just started crying, frustrated tears streaming down her face as she stared at error messages she didn't understand. Her phone buzzed. A message from David in their private chat. You okay? Haven't seen you in the group discussion today. Maya wiped her eyes. React is killing me. I don't understand any of this. Same, want to hop on a call? Maybe we can figure it out together. They spent an hour on a video call, both looking exhausted, both confused. But somehow talking through the concepts out loud helped. David's questions made Maya think differently. Maya's explanations helped David understand better. By 1:30 a.m., they both had working versions of the practice project. Not perfect, but functional. We should do this more often, David said. Study together, I mean. Definitely. I was about to quit for the night. Me too. But hey, we figured it out. That became their routine. Whenever one of them got stuck, they'd message the other. Sometimes they'd just complain about how hard everything was. Sometimes they'd hop on a call and work through problems together. It made the impossible feel slightly less impossible. Week 4 was algorithms. Maya had seen this word thrown around in coding forums, always with a sense of dread. Now she understood why. Algorithms were like puzzles on steroids. Given an array of numbers, sort them in ascending order. But not just any way. Use this specific sorting method, and make it efficient, and explain the time complexity, and write it in under an hour. Maya's brain felt like it was melting. The instructor dropped terms like big O notation and time complexity, like everyone should know what they meant. Some people in the class did. They answered questions quickly, submitted assignments early, asked sophisticated follow-up questions. Maya wasn't one of them. She was the student who needed everything explained twice, who took 3 times as long on assignments, who stayed up until 3 a.m. just to submit something that barely met the requirements. The imposter syndrome hit hard. What was she doing here? These other students were so much smarter, so much faster, so much better at this. She didn't belong. Then, in week 5, Lily got sick, really sick. Not just a cold, but a nasty stomach bug that had her throwing up every few hours. Maya stayed home from her diner shift. Couldn't leave her daughter alone like that. She held Lily's hair back, cleaned up messes, brought water and crackers, and tried not to panic about the money she was losing. She also had a major assignment due, a full CRUD application. Create, read, update, delete. Build a web app that let users add items to a database, view them, edit them, and remove them. Connect the front end to a back end. Make it all work together. It was due in 2 days. Maya hadn't even started. That night, after Lily finally fell asleep around 11, Maya opened her laptop. She felt like crying before she even looked at the assignment details. She couldn't do this. It was too much. Something had to give. Her phone buzzed. David. Hey, how's your daughter? Better, I think. Finally sleeping. Good. You see the assignment? Yeah, I'm screwed. There's no way I can finish it by Wednesday. Want to pair program tomorrow? We could work on it together. Your app and mine. Maya hesitated. Are we allowed to do that? The syllabus says pair programming is encouraged. We just have to build our own individual projects, but we can help each other figure out the hard parts. Okay. Yeah, that would be amazing. They spent 4 hours on video call the next day while Lily watched movies on the couch, finally feeling better. David helped Maya set up her back end. Maya helped David fix bugs in his front end. They both Googled constantly, piecing together solutions from documentation and Stack Overflow answers. By midnight, Maya had something working. Messy, but working. She submitted it with 2 hours to spare before the deadline. The feedback came back a few days later. B+. Good effort. Code could be cleaner and more organized, but core functionality works well. B+. Maya almost cried with relief. She'd passed. She'd actually passed. But the reprieve was short-lived. Week 6 brought new challenges. Week 7 was worse. Week 8 nearly broke her. The turning point came during Week 9. They were working on a group project. 4 students assigned to build a collaborative task management app. Real-time updates. User authentication. Responsive design. The works. Maya's group consisted of her, a recent college grad named Tyler who talked way too fast, a guy named Kevin, who seemed to know everything, and a quiet woman named Priya, who barely spoke in meetings. Tyler immediately took charge. Okay, so I'll handle the authentication system. Kevin, you're good with databases, right? You do the back end. Priya, you can do the styling. Maya, you can. Maybe do some of the simpler front-end components. The way he said it, like he was doing her a favor, like she wasn't capable of handling anything complex. Maya felt her face heat up. Actually, I'd like to work on the task management logic, the core functionality. Tyler exchanged a glance with Kevin. That's pretty complicated. Are you sure? I'm sure. Kevin shrugged. Okay. If you get stuck, I can take it over. Maya spent the next week proving herself. She built the task creation system, the drag-and-drop functionality for moving tasks between columns, the ability to assign tasks to different users, the filtering options. It was hard, really hard. She probably spent 60 hours just on her portion. But when she presented it during their next group meeting, it worked perfectly. Tyler looked surprised. Wow, this is actually really good. Thanks, Maya said dryly. Kevin nodded, impressed. Yeah, this is solid work. Nice job. Even Priya spoke up, her first real contribution to the project. This is much better than I expected. You really know what you're doing. For the first time since starting the boot camp, Maya felt like she belonged. Not because someone told her she did, but because she'd proven it to herself. She wasn't the fastest student. She wasn't the one who knew all the answers immediately, but she was determined. She was resourceful. She figured things out. And her code worked. That was enough. Week 12 was midway through the program. 3 months down, 3 to go. The instructors scheduled one-on-one check-ins with each student. Rachel, the lead instructor, joined Maya's video call with a warm smile. How are you holding up, Maya? Honestly, I'm exhausted, but I'm still here. You are, and your work has been consistently solid. I've been impressed with your progress. Really? Maya couldn't hide her surprise. I feel like I'm always behind everyone else. You're not, though. You know what I've noticed about you? You don't give up. Even when things are hard, even when you're clearly struggling, you keep pushing. That matters more than natural talent. Maya felt tears prickling her eyes. Thank you. I needed to hear that. You're going to make it through this program. And you're going to get a job. I'm sure of it. Rachel leaned forward. The students who succeed aren't always the smartest or the fastest. They're the ones who refuse to quit. That's you. After the call ended, Maya sat at her kitchen table for a long time, just processing. She'd spent so much time comparing herself to other students, feeling inadequate, feeling behind. But Rachel was right. She was still here. She hadn't quit. Week after brutal week, she kept showing up, kept learning, kept building. That night, She actually got 6 hours of sleep for the first time in months. Week 13 brought the capstone project announcement. Each student would build a complete application over the next several weeks, something they could showcase to potential employers, something that demonstrated everything they'd learned. Maya already knew what she wanted to build: a platform connecting single parents with local resources, childcare options, food banks, free or low-cost activities, community support groups. All the things she desperately needed and could never find in one place. She pitched the idea to Rachel during office hours. "I love it," Rachel said immediately. "It's personal, it's useful, and it's technically complex enough to really showcase your skills. Plus, having a project you are emotionally invested in will help during the hard days." "There's going to be more hard days?" Maya joked. Rachel laughed. "Oh, definitely. But you'll get through them. You always do." Maya started planning her capstone project that night, sketching out features, thinking about user experience, researching similar platforms to see what worked and what didn't. For the first time since starting the boot camp, she felt something beyond stress and exhaustion. She felt excited, genuinely excited about building something meaningful. She video called David to tell him about her idea. "That's perfect for you," he said. "What are you building?" "A logistics app for small trucking companies. Help them route efficiently, track shipments, all that. Something I wish I'd had when I was driving." They talked for an hour about their projects, about how far they'd come, about how impossible it had seemed 12 weeks ago. "We're really doing this," David said. "We really are," Maya agreed. She still had 3 months left. 3 months of brutal coursework, impossible deadlines, and constant learning. 3 months of barely sleeping, missing time with Lily, and living on caffeine and willpower. But she was going to make it. She knew it now. Not because it was easy, but because she refused to let it break her. Maya thought back to that night 3 months ago, sitting in her car during her diner break, watching coding videos on her cracked phone. That version of herself could barely write a line of code. Now she was building real applications, solving complex problems, thinking like a developer. She wasn't there yet, still had so much to learn. But she was so much further than she'd ever thought possible. And if she could get this far, she could make it to the finish line. She just had to keep going. One day at a time, one line of code at a time, one impossible challenge at a time, because she was more than just a waitress. She was becoming a developer. And nobody could take that away from her. 3 months had passed since Maya first typed "Hello World" on her ancient laptop. 3 months of barely sleeping. 3 months of living on coffee and determination. Her routine had become insane. Wake up at 6:30, get Lily ready for school, work the morning shift at the diner from 8 until 4, pick up Lily, help with homework, make dinner, put her daughter to bed by 8:30. Then, finally, Maya's time would begin. From 9 p.m. until at least 1 in the morning, sometimes 2, she sat hunched over her laptop learning to code. Her back ached from the terrible kitchen chair she used as a desk. Her eyes burned from staring at the screen. But she kept going. The other servers at the diner thought she'd lost her mind. "You look like death," Kelly told her one morning, sliding a plate of pancakes across the counter. "Seriously, Maya, when's the last time you slept a full night?" "I sleep enough," Maya lied, pouring herself another cup of coffee. Her 4th of the morning. "What are you even doing up so late? Please don't tell me you got a second job." "I'm learning to code." Kelly blinked at her. "You're learning to what?" "Code. Computer programming." "Why?" It was a fair question. Maya had asked herself the same thing about 100 times, usually around midnight when her brain felt like mush, and she couldn't figure out why her code kept throwing errors. "Because I can't do this forever," Maya said quietly, gesturing around the diner. "And maybe there's something better out there." Kelly looked at her like she'd announced she was running off to join the circus. "Okay. Good luck with that, I guess." Maya knew how it sounded. Crazy. Unrealistic. She was a 34-year-old single mom with a high school diploma and no tech experience. She was competing against kids fresh out of college with computer science degrees, kids who'd been coding since they were 12. But she'd already made more progress than she thought possible. That broken computer at the diner. Maya had fixed it for good. She'd spent a weekend researching the error messages, watching videos about common hardware issues, and slowly diagnosing the problem. Turned out the hard drive was failing. She found a replacement on eBay for $40 and installed it herself, following a tutorial video step by step. Rosie had been so impressed she'd given Maya a $50 bonus. Then Maya had gone further. The diner's scheduling system was a disaster. Rosie did everything on paper, which meant constant confusion about who was working when. Shift swaps required 3 phone calls, and usually someone got the message wrong, so Maya built something better. It took her 3 weeks of late nights, countless YouTube tutorials, and probably 1,000 Google searches. But she created a simple web app where staff could see the schedule, request time off, and swap shifts with each other. Nothing fancy, but it worked. When she showed Rosie, the older woman had actually teared up. "This is incredible, honey. How much do I owe you?" "Nothing," Maya said. "It's practice for me. Just let me keep using it as a portfolio piece."